Hey, friends, welcome back to yet another episode of Show Me the Collectibles, the podcast where you get to come on and brag about your collectibles. Now, if you are a collector and you want to come on a future episode of Show Me the Collectibles, make sure to hit us up on Facebook under the banner of Friends of the Squared Circle, where we also interview fans of pro wrestling. So if you're a fan of pro wrestling, it's 2 for 1. You could be on 2 podcasts. Today we have Adam as our guest. I am excited for another interview. I know I say that all the time, but I feel like this one's going to be very special. Adam, how are you doing today?
I am doing great. Every day's a good day. It's warming up. I love it.
Gotcha. You're not a big fan of the cold we have right now?
No, and it's weird. I'm a Midwestern guy. Snow's half our life, but
Yep.
I do not like it.
See, I love the cold, but I could deal without the snow just because it hinders driving. It makes my job a little bit harder. I hate shoveling. Luckily, at my apartment, I only have 3 steps to shovel, so I'm pretty fortunate there. But I could deal with the -30, and I would be fine. But the snow definitely I cannot stand. So
Yeah, the snow's probably the worst part.
yeah. So well, you know why you're here. Everybody else should know why you're here. We're ready to see them collectibles. So let's show off the collectibles here.
Yeah, so I'm a big Ninja Turtles fan. I have been my whole life.
Okay.
Unfortunately, I don't have a lot of the collectibles I had when I was a kid. Because I'm sure it happens to a lot of people. As you grow up, your mom eventually decides, or your dad decides, well, they don't need this anymore, and they throw it away, which is a bummer. But I still have some cool things. I've started kind of recollecting a few things. One of the coolest things I have is I shared with my wife a really special memory about this one Easter when I was a kid. And my dad took me into a store, and kind of like a little gift, instead of an Easter basket, he let me pick out a Ninja Turtle.
Oh, okay.
And I am also a big fan of the classic Universal monsters. A huge fan. I've always loved them since I was a kid.
Mhm.
So, as I'm sure you know, there was a line when I was a kid that was the Ninja Turtles dressed as the monsters.
Yep.
I missed that figure, after I lost my dad, especially. I wish I had that because it had a very special memory. And maybe a year or so ago now, I was feeling kind of bad about losing my dad, and my wife got me a gift. She actually went on eBay and found the exact figure
That's awesome.
that I had. It was Donatello. He's my favorite turtle, dressed as
Okay.
Dracula. It blows me away because action figures feel so much different now, and they're packaged so much different than they used to be.
Mhm.
And there's little details that I remember from being a kid, like seeing the back, and there's the weapons, and then
Yep.
there's like the little pizza points. I always used to collect those.
Oh yeah, I
Uh,
forgot about those. Yep.
I honestly never even knew what to do with them. I just collected them.
I'm
Um,
totally gonna have to Google that now just to see what you can do with those.
yeah, yeah, and it's cool. There's even there's a coupon in here for money off of a pass to Universal Studios.
Oh,
Um,
nice.
yeah, it's even unpunched. Well, I mean, it's punched, but the little thing isn't missing,
Mhm.
which, from what I understand, is good. But yeah, it's so cool. It was really nice because I lost this figure and now I have it again, and it really was something special that my wife did for me.
Now
Um,
that's one thing about collectibles. Not to cut you off there, sorry. Is that yes, it is the figure, but that sentimental reason behind it with your dad and now with your wife, because you're going to treasure that
oh yeah,
forever. And I'm getting goosebumps here. That is a great story. Shout out to your wife for that awesome gift. So
yeah, it blew me away. It really did. And again, like you said with the sentimental, I've got kind of a newer figure I'll show off here. This was actually my first Ninja Turtle figure that I ever got.
okay.
I was into the cartoon, I was into all that. But the first figure I actually got was a character. His name is Ace Duck, and my grandmother, it was my mom's mom. It was my birthday one year, and I said I wanted a Ninja Turtle. She acted like she had no idea what it was, and she told me she forgot that it was even my birthday, had no idea, and then had me go get something from under the sink, and there was the Ace Duck figure. I wasn't specific about what I wanted. I just said I wanted a Ninja Turtle, and that's the one that got in. That ended up being my first figure. And of course, over the years, lost. But, and I've been sleeping on this, I guess. I recently discovered that a company called Super 7 has been making ultimate figures,
Okay.
where they'll take classic Ninja Turtle figures um, and they'll revamp them. Basically, they'll put like new, they'll look the same, but they'll have like better paint jobs. Like some of the figures, like Cat Scratch, had like a little sidekick with him. They'll be like fully painted instead of being one solid color.
Oh,
Rafe
okay.
is another one. He had a little sidekick. They like fully painted. They're better paint jobs, more detailed, stuff like that. They
Yeah.
kind of reboot the figure. And for the most part, they look really close to what they did initially. Although I will say recently I saw they're doing like a Rat King figure, and they totally redid the head, and that's pretty
Oh, okay.
controversial, I guess.
Okay.
Because a lot of people are like, there's, the original figure had rats on them and, looked a certain way. And this one, they kind of, but I digress. So I actually got, this is my first one because they're fairly expensive for an action figure. But I got Ace Duck here
That's so cool.
because this was the first figure I had from Ninja Turtles. And it's cool. They have like alternate hands. He's got wings. They have like an alternate, oh, sorry.
Oh, you're
They
good.
have an alternate head. He's got the wings like he used to have, like an alternate jacket. He's got the little egg bombs that he used to have, a hat, goggles. So they like add they add some new things with it.
Hmm.
Um, but they also put in a lot of the classic stuff. So they definitely reboot it kind of. And I just thought it was the coolest thing. And even on the back, if you remember on the Ninja Turtle figures, there was always that little card you could cut out
Yep.
that talks about the figure. And this says the exact same thing it said on the back about Ace Duck. And I just thought this was the coolest thing. I'm a big nostalgia guy. I love things that are associated with memories from my childhood.
Hmm.
Um,
Definitely. Yep.
and one day I was just thinking about how that was my first figure, and so I got it. I don't know if I can afford to get all of them because they are expensive.
Yep.
Well worth it, but they're expensive.
Mhm.
And I think they're on wave 4 or 5 now.
Okay.
But they've got some really cool classic figures. They've got like Mondo Gecko, Ray Fillet. I know that you're a fan of Yosagi Jumbo and Panda Con. I haven't
Yep.
seen those yet, but it'd be cool.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that's kind of a revamped version of what I used to have. I've tried to look for an Ace Duck figure on eBay, but a lot of those figures, if you want one in
Oh, yeah.
package condition, they really get up there in price.
Oh, yeah. So now with the figures now, I know like somebody, yeah, excuse me. Wow. How now, brown cow? My buddy Randy's gonna rip me apart. Do you prefer them loose, or I've noticed that both are in your box. You prefer mint on card, for your
I
figure?
prefer them mint on card.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Me, I'm gonna rip mine open because I want to display them funny. But yeah.
If I had the space and a place to put them where
Mhm.
my cats would not eat them and destroy them, I would do that same thing. Because they look cool. How cool would it be to have Ace Duck like wings fully out, and
Yep.
maybe position like that with one of the bombs in his hand, one of the grenades. That would be so cool. I just don't have the space to really display, and I'm the kind of guy too where if I'm going to display one, I need a lot more because they all
Mhm.
need to look like a set.
Oh, yeah.
Um, so with the older figures though, especially like the Donatello's Dracula one that I have
Mhm.
here, that one I would definitely want to keep because from what I understand, there's also more value associated with it.
Okay.
If they're in the
Yep.
package and things like that. So um, maybe if I have kids one day, I can go to them and they can go on a spaceship with it. I don't know.
Yeah, I know you mentioned that Donatello was one of your favorite Ninja Turtles.
Oh yeah.
I'll have to send you a previous episode where I talked with another guy about Ninja Turtles. But I mentioned on that when I got the Playmates, I know I showed you kind of off camera. I just got, the new wave, the second release or whatever they are.
Hmm.
Now the villains and stuff. I never had a Leonardo.
Really?
Yeah, I never realized that till now that I'm older. I always had either Mikey, Donatello, and Raphael was my man. Like I always went for the red one or the orange, but I always liked Raph. And like you mentioned, like some of your first action figures. One of the first ones or ones that I remember getting was Mikey when he was the sailor. I definitely would
Okay.
love to get that one just for nostalgia. I don't even care how beat up it is if it's scratched all over. I just want to throw it on the shelf just because I remember, like you said,
Yeah.
getting that from someone, and just the sentimental value behind it. So,
Yeah, for sure. For sure. Yeah.
and it was so crazy with the Ninja Turtles too because they had like the Michael Jordan, the Navy, the military ones.
Oh yeah.
That Donatello one was pretty sweet in the army or the army gear. What else did they do? They did the monsters. Oh my gosh, I can't talk today. Monsters is a great show, by the way. Love
Oh yeah.
Frankenstein.
Love it.
And now with the NECA figures, they're doing those monster ones again, and I really
Yeah.
want to get the Raph Frankenstein because A, I love Frankenstein, B, I love Raph, and I'm just like, whoa,
And they look so cool.
yes, they do.
Some of their decision making on that I thought was kind of interesting.
Hmm.
Like they had Leonardo as the hunchbacked assistant.
Okay.
If you're gonna, in my opinion,
Hmm.
if you're gonna start a line, or a crossover like that, you got to have like the classics, like the Wolfman,
Hmm.
stuff that people have heard of. I mean, I can kind of understand why they kind of want to do their own thing too, so it's not, an exact copy of this line.
Yep.
I get that, but it was cool. Yeah, they've got like Splinter as Van Helsing. Um,
Oh, okay. Very
I think
nice.
Donatello was the Invisible Man. Casey Jones is the Phantom of the Opera. Um, it really, and they're really beautifully done. Um, and I don't know if you've noticed. Did you ever see the figure of Michelangelo as the Mummy from that line?
I believe so. I'd have to double. I mean, there's I believe one at Walmart, like the Raph one, I think, or it might be the older one that you're talking about.
Well, the Michelangelo is the Mummy from the NECA line. Um,
Okay. Yeah.
it's funny because there's that meme of the like really old deteriorating Ninja Turtle head from the movie that
Oh,
became
yep.
a meme. They actually sculpted like the dead looking mummy face to look just like that.
Oh,
Um,
wow.
so it's pretty fun, and they're very well done. Um, I've actually been that's on my list of figures to collect as well because they are so cool, and I really hope that it continues because nothing nothing is more of a bummer than when they start a really cool line like that and then there's only like one series.
Yep. And that's the beautiful thing right now. It seems like collecting is the new thing, even though it's been around forever. Unfortunately, with that, like I showed off the Bebop there, that's $10 at Walmart. You go online looking for it, it's at $40. It's like really
Hmm.
that's a almost triple markup. Um, just off the shelf, it's ridiculous.
It is.
Usually, I'm not in a hurry to find things, but I was in a hurry to get those. When I bought the Ninja Turtle set, I found all of them but Leo or Raph, one of them, and I was freaking out because I was like, great, now I got to go on eBay and spend twice as much to get
Yeah.
that, next, that last turtle that I can't find. But luckily they restocked and I was able to get a Raph, but or whoever it was. But yeah, it's crazy how from peg to online it just goes up in value. So.
And and the thing is too about that is that it's whatever somebody's willing to pay for it.
Hmm.
Because somebody may just see that as a collectible and say, I'm going to try to make more money, and they'll just throw it on eBay and
Yep.
just pick an arbitrary price. They may say, I want $25 for this. Well, somebody eventually pays that, and then everybody starts thinking, okay, that's the going right now.
Hmm.
It's crazy how that works. I have a collection of Universal Monster figures as well. Back in like the early 2000s, Sideshow Collectables did them, and I was collecting a lot of them, and it is insane how much they go for and how much it fluctuates because
Hmm.
there was a figure of the Bela Lugosi Dracula. That was a very hard figure to find. And I think I paid $150 for it.
Oh, dang.
Um, and then maybe a year later, when I went to go look, and somebody was selling it for like 25.
Oh,
And and I'm sure if I was to look now, they'd be up there again. It
mhm.
just the thing about collectibles is they really you got to get in there at just the right time because it can really go up and down.
Yeah, and that's like I mentioned TikTok. Like it's crazy these people that go to yard sales and they'll pick through everything and find seven little gems that you probably had no idea that has any monetary value.
Oh yeah,
Um,
that's
I like watching those videos just because I like to see what people find.
yeah.
I'll pick up things like at Savers or Goodwill, and I'm like, oh well, online this probably goes for like 25, and sure enough, and it's just like it's $6. And like I should really get into flipping, but it's just like I'm not in it for the money. Just
Yeah.
like this Bebop eventually in a few years could be worth $50. But he's going to be opened and he's going to be like holding one of my Ninja Turtle VHS tapes, um, which that's one thing about VHS tapes. I'll segue into that. Different cover arts. That
Yeah.
was a re-release, but I mean, then you got the classic. I got this for a quarter.
Oh, that's so
The
cool.
old black and green.
That
It's
brings
the
back.
same movie, but it's a different cover art.
Yeah.
And this one seems to be going for almost $10 online. And I was lucky to scoop this up. But that, you know, I love the Puppet Ninja Turtles. I think everybody
Yeah.
loved those first movies, but you know, I love the cover art. That's why I chase them. I'm not looking to get rich off any of my stuff. I just wanted to look cool when I display it. So
Exactly. Exactly. And that's what's important is, it's some of that stuff. It just looks so cool, and there's such a nostalgia factor. Like when you showed me that first VHS, that brought back a lot of
mhm.
memories for me because I remember, pulling that VHS out and watching it, and that was that was an experience. That was like the
Yeah.
heyday of Ninja Turtles too.
One of the favorite ones I used to watch on VHS was when they found the Easter Bunny. My
Oh
grandma
yeah.
got that out of is it Avon? Yeah, Avon back in the day.
Hmm.
Because she was slinging that on her side hustle. I love my grandma. Yeah. So like, that would be one that I would throw on my shelf again. Like you said, nostalgia, yet as well as a sentimental value because I'd watch that at her house all the time.
Hmm.
And then I can't remember the actual letters, but it was those three letters they would have, and it had different colors, and I'd always be spelling
Yeah.
it out. Oh man, that just unlocked that core memory talking about that VHS. But
Was it? Oh God, that's gonna drive me crazy because I
yeah,
remember
it's
I
like
actually saw
THF or something, I think. But yeah.
yeah, I recently saw it on TikTok too.
Mhm.
Um, because a lot I'm in the nostalgia algorithm.
Yep.
So I'll see a bunch of like theme songs from shows when I was a kid and stuff, and that was one of them. And as soon as I saw it, I was like, I know exactly what that is.
Yep.
Um, but yeah, it was those three letters. That's gonna bug me. I'll have to look that
Yep.
up.
Yeah, that's the nice thing too. Is like on TikTok. Like I said, I'm looking for collectors. Spoiler, it's already going to be out when I air this episode. But I just interviewed a guy who collects Shrek, and I think that's the coolest
Really?
thing ever. I mean, I'm not a huge Shrek fan, but as soon as I saw his page, I'm like, I need to message this guy. I need him on a future episode to show me the collectibles. And he's trying to go for like the Guinness Book of World Records most Shrek collectibles.
Really?
He's starting to get to the point where people are sending him Shrek stuff, and like that's the dream for me would be like with Jurassic Park or Ninja Turtles, where if I
Yeah.
ever got to a large following, people send me stuff. Like I have Jurassic Park Pogs, I have
Oh,
various
Pogs.
VHS tapes. I have a VHS tape with a phone card in it. Like it's it's worth nothing, but to me, it's like it's history.
Yeah.
Wrapped in cellophane, and then I
And
have the
it's
laser
nostalgia
disc.
factor too.
Yep,
It takes you right back to
yep,
when you were a kid, and
yep.
yeah, yeah.
I definitely want to get the Ninja Turtles on laser disc for display purposes. I was kind of explaining it to the fiance, Randy. Take a shot. That's a little inside joke here. How like in DVD you can just watch the whole movie. Back in the day, some VHSs were two. You had to put the second movie in.
Yep.
Laser disc, you're flipping that damn disc, to watch the next one. Then you're putting in disc 3, disc 4, and you're doing. I mean, imagine a
Yep.
movie like get to like the climax. Oh, please insert other disc.
Titanic was one that came to mind.
Yep,
Is one that comes to mind for um, multiple VHSs. I think that
yep,
was it two.
yep. There's a guy that just collects solely those, and
I
people
saw
send
that
them
on
to him.
TikTok
Yeah,
too. Yeah, he just
it's
collects
so crazy. Yeah,
just a collection of Titanic
yeah.
VHSs.
No need for it, but hey, whatever floats
Makes
your
him
boat.
happy.
I had to make that horrible joke there. I don't know if you caught that. Titanic. Okay. All right.
It took me a minute
That
when
was
you
a good
said
one.
that.
Yeah. So, the other thing that I've been seeing with collectibles is 3D printing. Okay, that's a thing. I know some people like that. Is it ASMR or whatever? And they just don't know watching those. They got tons of views, tons of whatevers. I saw a guy 3D printing street sharks, and I lost my
No
ever
way.
loving mind because I never had any street shark toys as a kid. I liked the show, barely remember it, but the teacher at the school that I work at is always like, "Oh, if you ever want anything 3D printed, let me know," because that's what he's teaching the kids because that's kind of the new thing. And I was like, "Don't ask for a street shark. Don't ask for a street shark." And there's a
Teachers
little
will love
keychain
you.
one that I found, and I might ask him to print it. So
You should go for it, man.
yeah.
Man, I loved Street Sharks too. I had the figure of Big Slamu. He was the whale
Oh
shark.
yeah, yep.
Um, yeah, I remember that. I remember that pretty vividly. I think I remember all their names. I'm not positive. There was Big Slamu. Uh, was it Streaks? Was the tiger shark with the rollerblades?
Okay.
God, the other two I forget.
I know there's the
There's
blue
the
one, and then the
Yeah,
hammerhead. Yeah.
there's the
Yep.
great white that had the cowboy boots, and then there was the
Okay.
hammerhead.
Yeah. Yeah. Definitely those. I talked about on a previous episode too. The animals that became like superheroes, biker mice from Mars.
Yep.
I just had awesome artifact. Shout out to him on here. When we get him on for a second episode, he's going to dig those out so we can see the biker mice from Toys Cars. And they're rebooting that series,
Are they
and
really?
yep. And I actually have a bootleg Blu-ray that I bought from the Chicago Comic Con of the first season of Biker Mice from Mars, and I
Really?
gotta watch it. I keep forgetting. I got so many movies; they're just stacking up. But yeah, I definitely would love to re-go down that route with that because my brother had the Mo Control, and when I mentioned that show, like hardly anybody remembers it. So
Really? That's sad.
yeah,
That's kind of scary that all these things, and I've noticed that a lot, like things from my childhood, like people today, a lot of them, like younger people. Oh God, I sound like a boomer now. They have no idea, like so many people, no idea what street sharks are. No idea about biker mice from Mars, like battle toads. There was a
Battletoads.
whole
Yes, yep,
Yeah,
yep,
there was a whole trend, after Ninja Turtles that was like generally four uh, half human, half animals
yep.
that had some sort of theme, and God, yeah, what a time to be alive that was.
Yep, there was we were talking about it on the last episode too. The cow ones. I vaguely
Yeah,
remember that, but I remember
Cowboys
seeing
of Moo Mesa.
there it is, and then there was it's gonna escape me. I'm gonna have to look it up. But then the X-Men and the Spider-Man cartoons back then too were amazing. I know I talk about that already, but like it's
Those
yeah.
theme songs were good too.
Mhm. And those you gotta bring up the other ones. I loved Care Bears. I loved Gummy Bears,
Oh,
Gargoyles, the Darkwing Ducks. Speaking of gargoyles, those figures are so cool, but they're so big.
yeah,
Um,
I've
yeah,
seen. Was it NECA? Is NECA doing that?
yep. I've seen like Goliath, Doc, not Doc, um, the tan one, the older guy.
Oh,
Hudson, and I've seen like a lot of them. And then I just seen the villain gargoyle one. I can't remember
Ghidorah.
his name, but he's like dark blue. The male one. He's got like white hair. I'll have to send you a
Oh,
picture.
wasn't he like a clone of Goliath?
Possibly, yep, yep.
Something like
But
that. I
yeah,
saw.
I've got all those on DVD. Tailspin. I mean, just going down a rabbit hole. Rescue Rangers.
Yep.
Like I mentioned, gummy bears. I want to get those Funko Pops.
DuckTales.
Um, Ducktales. I like the Mighty Ducks. I like that. That was kind of cool. Like where they were
Yeah,
superheroes.
I remember that.
Uh,
Yeah.
I've
Goof
I've
Troop.
actually searched those out online. Those are kind of spendy right now, but I
Really?
would like to get some. I don't like spending more than $15 on things.
Yeah,
Kind
I'm
of
the same way.
cheapskate, but I'll buy 12 things that are $8. I mean,
Yeah, yeah. I'm the same way. I'm the same
like
way.
I buy sports cards and I'll buy 20 of them at like $3-4 a piece, but I won't spend $60 on one. It's dumb. So,
Yep, I'm the
so
same way.
but not to segue too much off. Did you have any more collectibles? I know we kind of got on a tangent there about cartoons, so I
Yeah.
totally
So
forgot about we're doing a collectible episode here.
yeah, it's not really a toy or an action figure. I hope that's okay.
That's totally fine. Yep.
I got a couple, if it's okay, of
Yep.
books here.
You're the star of the show here. I'm just the host.
So this first one is the visual history of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
Oh, cool.
Highly recommend it. The author is a really nice guy. We're Facebook friends. Really nice. But what's really cool about this book, aside from the fact that it's about Ninja Turtles, of course,
Yeah.
is it's a whole history of Ninja Turtles. And there's even, a copy of like a letter from a Ninja Turtles fan club in here.
Oh, wow.
All kinds of stuff. But the best part is I took this book to a Comic-Con that I went to where all four of the original voice actors happened to be there.
Mm-hmm.
And I got all of them to sign this book. They all signed the inside. Cam Clark is Leonardo. He signed that here. Let's see. The guy that did Donatello and also Bebop.
Yep. I was just going to say, yep.
Yep, he's in there. And
I know Ron Paulson does Raph, and
yep, Rob Paulson's in here too.
yep. I got his biography signed out there. I got off a website for like $20. I'm like scooping that up. Should probably bust that out to read. Yeah.
I would eventually love to have this signed by, anybody else who did a voice on that show. And eventually, it would be a tough thing to do, I think. But if I'm living in the right area, because a lot of people come to Chicago, but if I could get Kevin Eastman and Peter Laird to sign that book, I would be over the moon.
I think I sent you something that one of them was going to be at, I believe.
Yeah. Kevin Eastman, I believe.
Okay. So you're down in the Chicago area now. Okay.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Another cool thing is I saw this on Kickstarter. It's a book by Varner Studios. And this was a design company that designed a bunch of the Ninja Turtle figures.
Oh, okay.
And so this book is almost entirely, it's like a sketchbook. Like this is, Dirtbag, like just sketches of the different figures that they had. Like there's like a military rock steady, a Civil War. I can't tell. Civil War Raphael.
Oh, okay. Cool.
And there's some of them are in color. Like this Rock and Roll Ninja Turtle, and this is basically like a sketchbook of all kinds of figures and things like weapons that came with it, different head sculpts, and this is where the figures came from. Like there was a Ninja Bebop and Rocksteady. So there's like little notes on here of how they should look, and really, really cool book. Highly recommend it if it comes available. I believe the way that it works is every so often he goes back on Kickstarter to print more, and you basically book that way.
Very nice.
Cool. And then the final book I have is called Rad Plastic. This was another one.
Just the cover alone is awesome.
I know, isn't that great? It's this was another Kickstarter. book, and this one is kind of a history of the different Ninja Turtle figures and kind of how they were made. Like this page, the movie star turtles,
Oh, yep, yep.
and it's kind of like a little encyclopedia of the different figures and how they were made and stuff like that. I don't know if you remember Sergeant Bananas. What page is that? There we go.
Yeah, I remember that figure. Yep.
Yeah, and it's got like the sketch that they used and then what he ended up looking like. Also, a very cool book. I'm definitely a book guy. I'm a big art guy. Um, so being able to see, especially like some of the sketches that people
Yeah.
did,
Yep.
come up with that is just that does it for me. That's so cool.
Yeah, I remember like I showed you the Playmates, and I tried to do a theme, I guess. So for the other type of thing that I got, the Funko Pops, I went with the more the movie style for these ones.
Oh yeah,
They had 8-bit ones that were much cooler. I
I
should have
do
went
know.
that route, but I wanted to buy this Jurassic Park Jeep, so I cut $5 each off each Funko Pop. I got all 4 of the turtles, and now I have Razor. I had to remember his name there. But I should have got the 8-bit ones because they were so cool from those Nintendo games back in the day. But yeah, I think if I do another line or another toy, maybe like the NECA figures, maybe I'll do Ninja Turtles 3. So then I'll have the cartoon, one of the movies, and then maybe one of the sequels. So that way, there's a little theme, I guess.
Yeah, yeah. It's some of the stuff they do is they just it's unbelievable that something that came out of the brain
Yep.
in the 80s of just these two guys in an apartment, decades later they're still making such cool stuff.
Yep.
You
And
know,
I'm sure
from
you've seen, not to plug Paramount here on my little podcast, but they have the history of the turtles on there. They go how they started
yeah,
that, and then how they were all had the red band. Is it a bandana or
yeah,
mask or okay?
yeah, the red.
They all had red. Well, then when they were doing the figures, they had to like alter the colors a little bit of each. Turtle. Where he's kind of a different green.
Yeah,
Donatello's more brown. And you mentioned the cards on the back. It just made me think of that. I
yeah.
believe they're all, it says like their age. And I think they're all 15. And I think Mikey or Michelangelo, I think he says he's 14 on there. And I always thought that was kind of weird.
Yeah,
Um,
they should be like the same age. They
yeah, I'll have to double check and then get back to you about that. But Raph's my dude. Cool but rude. I got the tattoo. And when I met Ron Paulson there, I had to show it off to him. He thought that was the coolest thing.
isn't he
Um,
such a nice guy?
oh, all 4 of them are just perfect. I
Oh,
believe I sent
don't
you the video where I had them order pizza in their voices. I don't know if I sent that to you or not.
no, I haven't seen
Oh,
that.
I'll have to send that to you. We'll tell this story here quick. Me and my buddy were down in Chicago for the Comic Con. Day one, long day. We get there, and my buddy's like, "Well, let's go get the turtles now. They don't have a really big line." I was like, "All right, cool, cool." So we go up, and they had already done all the professional photo ops, which were like 150, $200. So we asked a couple of the guys, like, "Hey, can we do a group photo since it's towards the end here? Because it's not so busy." And they all were cool with it. We had to ask their handler. She had to call the boss, and they said they didn't care. It's the end of the night. Just get it done. Well, as we're standing there, people kept just kind of like trickling in, one or two, going up, getting pictures, autographs. So, like, Ron Paulson would come over and talk to us, and then someone would be at his table. The voice actor for Donatello would come over, start talking to us, and then it just kept revolving. So we're standing there for almost an hour waiting for this picture, and it was like the greatest, like, core memory, getting to chat with these guys because like, oh, we're so sorry. Like, no, we're hanging out with you. It's cool. And we finally got our group photo with them, and literally security's like, you have to leave, and one of the turtles was like, it's okay, dude, they're with us. And it was like just so cool that we were there, the last one's out, and as we're leaving the parking ramp, who's walking across the street other than the 4 voice actors because they're going to the after party.
Oh wow.
And I believe it was the Donatello voice actor, or
Barry Gordon.
yeah, I think it was him, like playfully jumps on the hood of my buddy's car, or it was Michelangelo. I can't remember. I'm so excited.
Oh,
But he jumps on there playfully. Oh, you just killed the Ninja Turtle, and so we put up the status that my buddy hit
oh
one of the
wow.
Ninja Turtles with his car. So like, probably one of the best celebrity interactions that I've had, by far, out of all the wrestlers and celebrities I've met. Those four dudes took the time to hang out with us, make it the experience, and then we did the panel before that when, I had asked the question and they all got into character. It was so
Mhm.
great.
They
So,
are they are such nice guys, and that's
mhm.
one thing I love, especially about voice actors. Is actors? There's a lot of really nice actors too,
Yep,
but I've found at Comic Cons, voice actors especially are some of the most grateful
yep,
uh, people that you will ever meet.
yep.
Meeting Rob Paulson especially, and telling him like, I loved you in Ninja Turtles, but also like Animaniacs and
Yes,
all
yep,
this other stuff, and he did the voices, just chit chatting,
yep.
and when he shook my hand and looked me in the eyes and said thank you so much, like, it's one thing when, like, I also met the guy that did Creed from The Office that day, for example.
Oh, okay,
And I
yep,
said, I love The Office. And he was like, oh, thanks. But Rob Paulson and the other guys too, when they shake your hand, they look you in the eyes and they say thank you so much.
yep,
You can tell it means the world to them.
yep.
They are so genuine about it. Not to bash Creed, he was such a nice guy. But you can tell he was kind of, hears it all the time. But
Yeah.
those voice actors, man, they are so grateful to have fans, and they are so nice about it and so
Mhm.
cool. And it was unbelievable meeting some of the voices from my childhood.
Yep.
You know,
And that's actually one thing that I wanted to do as a kid too, was voice acting. I mean, I doodle a little bit. Shout out to you with your art; it's amazing. I just do faces here and there. Something that I wanted to do, but then I realized I didn't want to draw for the rest of my life, so I don't have like that big of a passion. But voice acting, song parodies, like Randy, take a shot. We're talking about Amy again. Every time we're in the car, I'll just start with a tune, and then it just turns into something that's not even the song. She's like, "What are you even thinking about?" I'm like, I don't even know where my brain goes. It just goes into this, weird voice, and then I change the song, and then I'll never remember it again. So
yeah.
like I made up a story. I'm gonna full disclosure here in my relationship where she wanted to go to bed, and I just kept going and going and going, and at the end I ended it with, "And then you married Gandalf, the old elf, or whatever," and she's just like, just busts up laughing. She's like, "Where did that come from?" I'm like, I don't know. I just had to start, and my ending was there because she loves Lord of the Rings, and
Yeah,
I'm 11 years older, so she calls me an old man all the time. So, but yeah,
yeah.
that'd be one thing that'd be cool, is to do voice acting for sure. Just because, like, the guy from Police Academy, I thought he was the coolest one,
Might what was his
doing
name?
all those
Winslow?
voices. Does a lot of stand up comedy now, but yeah,
I think I don't know if that's his character name or his real name, but I think that was.
gotcha. All righty. Well, we'll try to wrap this up here.
Yeah,
If you're ever interested in coming on again, we could totally show off some of your artwork,
for sure.
as well as if you got any other collectibles or anything like that. Is there any socials or anything you want to plug? Otherwise, we can plug my ads and get you on about your day here.
Yeah, let's plug you.
All right. Well, we'll kick you into the lounge because I feel like I've got some authority.
Oh yeah.
And I have to mention one last thing before we kick you out of here. Midwest Goodbye. All of our interviewees have had beards. That's a great beard. Just got to give you a shout out there too as well.
Thank you,
So,
sir.
all righty. Hang on in that lounge. Don't disappear on me. And
Yep.
we'll talk real quick here. All right, ladies and gentlemen, this is another episode of Show Me the Collectibles, where you come on the podcast and you show off your collectibles. Now, if you didn't already know, this podcast is sponsored by Darren Corbin. You can follow Darren Corbin on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, Twitter, and TikTok. Yes, Darren Corbin is on TikTok. Another great way to support Darren is on patreon.com/Darren Corbin. Tiers start at just $1. Huge shout out to Superior Creations there for all of your custom tumbler needs. Now you should kind of hit her up and say, hey, after all that Ninja Turtle talk, I need a custom TMT, custom tumbler there. You can see Rikishi, Hornswoggle really enjoying their custom tumblers as well as the system. Joey and Sierra and Rampage, as well as the boys over at 13 Cards Subject to Change. Give them a like and follow on all social medias, and make sure to comment about Leroy's second place beard. We have a new sponsor at Friends of the Squared Circle. It is Chef Keith. You can find his salsas on chefkeithfoods.com. He's sending us a gift package, and I cannot wait to try these salsas. Raging Reaper, you got Hoppin' Habanero, Black Bean, and Corn, which is one of my favorite. And he also has one called Groovy Garden. Give him a like there and check him out on his website there, chefkeithfoods.com. He does a lot of stuff at the farmers market down there in St. Paul. We got more information coming. We're just starting to build this brand, but check them out. I bet those salsas are amazing, and I am a taco eating machine. And lastly, we got to start plugging our socials here, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube. You can give us a like and follow on those. But if you want to become on an episode, hit us up in the comment sections. We'll reach out to you so you're able to come on a future episode of Friends of the Squared Circle, as well as Show Me the Collectibles. And don't forget to buy your merch at friendsofthesquaredcircle.org for all your, t-shirt needs there. Thank you for watching.